because I'm like. Are we live? That sounded off. Are we live? Of course we're live. People deluded, I'm back again. Thank you very much for tuning back in each and every time. Obviously, Daily Dusan has probably taken a conclusion, people, as he signed for us, Juventus. He's not signed for us, which is also Arsenal. I'm a winner in this situation, people. Winner, chicken dinner and things. Banter aside, obviously, we knew it was the inevitable. You know, we'd be linked with a bag of strikers, then we'd be aggressively linked with one guy. Ultimately, we'd be taken around the houses where he's going to sign for someone else. Where in irony, you know, it's all coordinated. He's clearly had an agreement from a long time ago with Juventus. I mean, his agents aren't picking up phones. Miraculously, they're picking them up for Juventus. That tells you, you know, we always wanted Juventus. Now, it was a game of poker between Juventus, between Fiorentina, and Fiorentina, with a couple of weeks to go, have buckled in it. They need the money. They want top to sell him for top dollar, or he probably would have done whatever Juventus want and run down his deal. So they've played a game of poker. Arsenal have tried to leverage their interest and go aggressively for him, but it ain't worked out. He only wanted Juventus, so that means he's turned down Arsenal, who in the last few weeks it's just been him to us. He's turned down Spurs. You actually see Atletico Madrid have placed an offer at his table, and he's not taking them on. So yeah, you know, for us, he'll be a good player. He'll give us another dimension, and I think he can grow with our team. But you get the point, innit? One love to everybody tuned in. Please make sure you're hitting the like button. Don't take banter seriously as well, folks. There's no need to cry. It's all a game. It's all a bit of fun and entertainment. But yeah, we're going to speak about this. I got beer tabs. We're just going to go over all of them. I don't know who said what at this point. I've just been keeping a track of it. We're going to go over what the tabloids are saying in relation to these strikers. Every tabloid is saying a new striker. You got Vlahovic, Jonathan David now, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, all of these names that were there, all being resurfaced as we scramble to find someone. Arteta has been spotted in America with Kroenke, and obviously there's a couple of other bits and pieces and things like that. So yeah, please make sure you're hitting the like button, you're getting your talking points in. As usual, people, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and of course good night. I hope everyone's doing well and safe. Hopefully you've all got your health. Wishing you lot continued good health. Hope you're all having, you know, a fantastic start to the week in whatever reality you face yourself with. As I said, make sure you're hitting the like button. Shameless plug, people. But what was I going to say? AFCON. I'm going to be doing an AFCON watch along. That's going to be on Twitch from 3:30. So make sure you join me, people. Which again, I don't know what YouTube's on here. Use and Varvic. Enters. Okay, sorry. I think that's how you spell Kroenke. All right, there we have it. Sorry, folks. Admin's taking over. YouTube is giving me alerts. Don't know why, but it shouldn't. What's it talking about? Sorry, folks. All right, we're all good again. Crazy alerts from YouTube there, man. But anyways, we move on. We go cracking on. Brush, I appreciate you. Man said, question, Isak for 75 million or pay the 17.25 release clause for Julian Alvarez and even use 10 million as an alternative to get Tyler Adams. I don't really rate Tyler Adams, so I'd probably go for Julian Alvarez. You know, I like Alvarez. I think Isak's a good player. I'd go either or, and just leave Tyler Adams where he is, people. Big up DGC, and Fiorentina are going for Arthur Cabal to replace Dusan. Arthur has 14 goals in 18 games this season and would cost less than 20. Why aren't Arsenal showing teams we are trying? We probably are. We do need to be mindful of we need to be mindful of the rumors and what actually Arsenal are doing are two different things. But we were linked with him. Maybe we've taken a pass on it. What I don't want is desperation. Don't just sign players because we want to save face and have a striker. Find somebody. Don't sign a striker and then figure how they play, how they fit into the team later, like we did with Aubameyang, who has been scoring good goals off the flanks, through the middle. Lacazette again. Just find the right guy, really and truly. And again, just buy right. Because anyone that signs for this club, the variables are going against them. We're looking at them to be the savior. We're relying on them to join a team which still learning and still has building blocks, and relying on them to deliver the goods immediately. Do I think Isak is ready to sign for Arsenal and score goals forever? No. The best strikers, Kane, Vardy, Aubameyang, historically, they've gone on goal scoring droughts. So how can I expect an early 20-year-old not to do it? And I think Isak would struggle initially. I think he sets up everything we need. He's got the general play, the link-up play, got potential, can score goals, but it is what it is. And the longer the market runs down, again, we need to remember, like you said with Fiorentina, they need to buy other players, or anyone we buy players off, they're going to have to, find replacements and things. So, yeah, man, again, I hope there is a plan. I said I would shut my mouth until the end of the window. It's getting to that period. So I hope there is a plan between Edu and Arteta, or there's nothing. To be fair, I had this from day dot, man, but you got to be a bit shameless. Hey, DG, my man's pumping out live streams like crates of Coca-Cola. Big up yourself. I appreciate that. DG, do you think prioritizing a striker over a centre mid is going to cost us? Yes and no. I think not having a striker, evidently when your top goal scorer is still Aubameyang in the league, and Lacazette and Eddie are bringing nothing to the table. But, midfield is where battles are won and lost. So I would say both. Not sorting out, I would say definitely in midfield in August. Fair enough, I'll give you the luxury. It's difficult to sign strikers. Has cost us, really. Clearly, we had a rebuild. We signed some players and things like that. But in terms of reinventing the spine of this team, we buckled the chance of signing a midfielder. I don't think we wanted a midfielder. You listen to Arteta and Edu, they just say that really Lokonga is playing a lot more football than they imagined. So that tells me we was betting on Partey and Xhaka. The fact that El Nene is going to be here until the end of the season to carry us through, which on the best of days isn't good enough, is extremely naive. And as you can see, it's not something you can rely on. So I do think I think we signed up to be in this sort of territory and get results like Burnley when we didn't act. Some clubs are over prepared. Again, I said it yesterday. I'm not against in isolation and at the time period Torreira going because he didn't want to settle in the country. Guendouzi for whatever happened with Arteta, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, but you haven't covered your aces. Now, again, maybe the club expected something to come in, but we just look very amateurish. And again, I keep giving the example, and I probably sound like a broken record, but it's a thing where we're standing in the rain and complaining why we're wet now, isn't it? We had options, we had a chance to go to the shop early, which would have been in the coming months to August, and buy an umbrella being a midfielder or a striker. We could have put on a rain jacket. We could have kept ourselves in house. I don't know. You look at United, a bit different, or Chelsea. They're begging people to leave, really. Forgotten man, Ross Barkley, somewhat a forgotten man, Van der Beek. They're still about because people understand there's injuries and things like that. We played a very dangerous game, a very naive game, and for Mikel Arteta specifically and Edu, you were here last year. You know how long a season can be. Very naive. So I hope for their sake they can make something happen, man. Being Arsenal fans, hella funny, man. What about your shirt? I'm wearing and we wearing a Juventus shirt. I'm an Arsenal fan. I've got a Juventus shirt. I've been wearing it before. It's just a bit of banter and a bit of humor, man. Anyone that takes themselves way too seriously, please close this stream and exit the car. You're way too serious. You're looking at the world globally. There's really a lot of doom and gloom, really and truly. Let's chill out, man. Chill out, people. Morning, G. Question: if this Alvarez is good enough for Man City and is touted as the next Aguero, why don't you think Edu was looking? I don't know why Edu was or wasn't looking. I don't know what City's plans are. He might go straight into the first team, or he might go on loan and be part of the City group. I don't know, man. Really and truly. I heard that Arteta went to Denver and persuaded Stan to drop the bread. I mean, we're going to get into all of that in a second, man. We move on to the next striker. Facts. Deluded old lady today, something like that. DG, you reckon Arteta's got top four? I don't reckon anything. There's a lot of football to be played. If they want top four, they have to make a meal of it. Definitely the way we've been playing since the start of the year. You'd probably, pardon me, have to say that is a myth. Juventus seems to be screwing us over these years. Ramsey, Locatelli, Melo, and now Vlahovic. I wouldn't say Ramsey, really and truly. We let him go for free. Vlahovic, Juventus didn't screw us. We screwed ourselves. They had an agreement. They were getting him. Arsenal were being aggressive. They had an agreement with their advisors. They knew it would get done. Arsenal are the ones that shagged themselves in that regard. Locatelli, it only looked for me that we was going for Locatelli with Xhaka acting. Locatelli, like Vlahovic, they're drawn to Juventus. So it was always a myth, really and truly. We did get Henri from them, so for me, that makes it even, really. Big up DG. Arteta begging for money. DG, I think Isak is the best option. We've got to be patient, though. I do believe out of all the young strikers around, he has the highest ceiling. Probably does, but fans aren't going to care about that mid-season. Fans don't give a shit about Saka and Smith Rowe's development at this moment in time. If you're not winning games, it sounds easier said than done. You are right, though. Isak is not ready. Same with David. If we were to go in the Premier League, but then again, centre mid needs more options, though. I don't think we should get Melo for 18 months, should be 6. I disagree. I think you should get Melo for as long as you can, probably take him permanently. Typical Arsenal working for a player just to get. Bro, he said he don't. He said he's in a. He said he don't want to chat to us. It's like the game's the game. It's like sometimes you might be messaging a gal. You ain't got the drip at this moment. She's airing you, carrying on some sort of way. But when the ex calls or someone with I don't know, the trap stars or the whatevers, and she calls, the phone's always on. Vlahovic's agent's phone's never been off. It's just been off. The Arsenal and Spurs and all these other teams that have been interested, specifically Arsenal, have been the most aggressive. They knew that this thing was happening. It's crazy, man. You lot, it's you lot peak, but I mean, I got him, but I mean, we're getting Vlahovic. I don't know for you lots. You lots thing is different. I don't trust strikers from La Liga, boy. I'm not sure on that. Any footballer over the last, say, 10 years would rather play for Juventus than Arsenal, as they can guarantee to compete for trophies, and we can't. People have to understand that the manager doesn't want some of these players that other clubs are after, even if it would be good business. There are people starving and fighting with cancer, and some people are worried about what shirt another man wears. I know we'll take football seriously, but it isn't that deep. Come on, facts, man. Love for the super chat. Look on the brighter side. Lukaku is in a bad run. He might need to go. Another job experience in the Premier League. Be stupidly optimistic. Nah, man, Lukaku can stay in his yard, bro, in Cobham or whatever. We need strikers, but come on, that's a whole nother frustration. This is what I don't want Arsenal to do. Don't let frustration, love for the super chat once again, make you do nonsense, or it's going to be a problematic one in the transfer window, because you're going to sit here and say, oh, this guy isn't like with Chelsea. They needed a striker somewhat. They were desperate for a striker. Logically, it made sense to buy Lukaku. We're a side that create chances, don't necessarily score them. We need someone who, say what you want about Lukaku, scores. Lo and behold, he's not looking like he's matching the system. Don't let desperation get you on. And with Arsenal, people need to realize, people gave Odegaard a hard time joining for 6 months mid-season. Is that the angles are against him? There's an unrealistic expectation. He's not in the best of form, just like his club. He's joining mid-season. He's going to have to adapt to a new league. He's going to struggle physically. I know fans. I personally love Isak, but I don't know where this propaganda that he had an amazing Euros is. I see a deflected shot going off target against Spain that went in and man are waffling. Isak's a quality player, him and Odegaard, we've all seen the link-up play at Sociedad, but we need to allow it, It's the same logic that saw us think would see us sign a centre mid and think all our problems are solved. For years, we thought just signing a centre half has solved our problems. This is probably the first, since Arteta's come, he's improved us defensively, but we've signed Ben White, and to go with that, we've seen more stability in the back five. That's how you improve. And on occasion, we've defended better from the front, which has gone now, really. So a lot is better against Isak. He can link up play, can drop deep, he can score goals. He ties in with what we're doing long term. Whether we're willing to pay his release clause is a completely another thing. Let's get into some of these articles, people, really, because we've got a lot to get through. The first I want to go into is actually, we might as well go on The Athletic, purely because I have to sign into The Athletic via Safari, and I do this on Google Chrome. But Arsenal pushing to sign Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Isak or Vlahovic before Monday's deadline. Better late than never. I'm trying to scroll the way down, people. I don't really want to hear jargon. I just want to hear specifics, people. Ideally, they would like to make 3 additions with a centre forward, centre mid, and a goalkeeper. The earmarked areas, obviously, goalkeeper. Leno's having cold feet. We've been linked with that American guy, Matt Turner. We're here to talk about strikers, and centre midfield's an area we need. But AFCON is done soon, let's just say Ivory Coast were to defeat Egypt, then El Nene's back, Partey and Xhaka are back for our next game from suspension. Maybe that changes our whole topic with centre mid and sees us double down in the striker, which I don't think it's an either or thing. I understand the logic if some fans think, I'd rather have a striker, I'd rather have a centre mid. I personally feel that's the same logic where the club kind of twanged us to make us feel you need a 6 or an 8, where a serious club or a club that's serious does more. It's frustrating because as much as there was a bit of a rebuild last season, we buckled the chance to sign a striker for whatever reason. I'll cut the club some logic because I know they wanted Tammy Abraham and I wanted a striker in the summer, but I weren't mad aggressive with it. My one was midfield, and I felt there was a point with Xhaka going that we was going to improve that. We buckled at that. And then obviously the face of it, as much as we talk about the youthful rebuild, Tomiyasu, Ramsdale, Tavares has come in, Tini's there, Odegaard's there, Saka, Martinelli, etc., etc. The one kind of thing at the back of your head is the experienced players. 2 names right there. Respectfully, I love Thomas Partey. I don't know what I'm getting for 10 games. Xhaka is swings and roundabouts. We've been here before, and you go through the whole squad, Lacazette and Aubameyang, without the nonsense going on with one's contract and one's problems with Arteta, neither are scoring the goals. And there's not a single experienced player at this club that we could say everything is calm, really and truly. I class Ramsdale, Tomiyasu, and Ben White as experienced, but if they're not the real experienced guys, if that makes sense. Piece by piece, cut the track. Stylish has said there's 200 odd locked in, but we've only got 63 likes. Unexpected high bills due. You lot are doing man dirty. Toby just said, shout the members, almost caught some unexpected high bills. Rise up the likes. But moving forward, Partey and Xhaka are due to return from their suspensions after the mid-season break. So the striker situation now feels arguably most urgent. They're both urgent. Don't listen. How many times we've seen serious injuries? We've missed out with COVID historically over the years. It's not making sense. All it takes is we even when things were going well, we said we're one injury in midfield away or something from a crisis. And you saw these things. As much as I want a striker, once the ball, if we don't press together and the striker tries to press and the opposition beat them, what's going on in the midfield? You're not going to see this striker score as many goals as he could. You're not going to see Smith Rowe, Odegaard, Saka, all of these guys really develop until that midfield is a functioning unit. Clearly, a number 8 helps us pass the ball forward. The number 8 has to be able to defend. The number 6 has to be able to pass the ball forward. Until that's improved, you won't see the best of us. You won't see these players improve. We're going to live or die by midfield. Edu and Arteta were midfielders. I've got no excuses. I've got sympathy for fans, sympathy for maybe even members of the playing staff. No sympathy for Edu and Arteta. I hear that even if you're trying your hardest to bring a midfielder in, obviously, me as an ignorant fan, we can say you're sitting there doing nothing. I don't know the calls you're doing or the calls you've been doing since August. Football's a results game. It's not my job as a fan to know that. My job is to just be a decent human being. When Arsenal play or whatever, go and look at them. So I don't care really and truly. And it's you lot's fault. You cannot stand in the rain and complain you're wet. You've betted on players on the best of days that aren't levels. The squad has been trimmed even further, where maybe more experienced people play hardball over Ainsley Maitland-Niles and these sort of things going out on loan before you've dealt with what you needed to deal with. It's not making any sense, really. Scrolling all the way down, The Athletic understands that in the remaining 7 days of the window, Arsenal will redouble their attempts to prize one of their primary targets away from their current clubs. If they don't, we're going to be sat here doing the very same stream on this very same website where we're going to hear Arsenal made a concerted effort to get to Vlahovic. They spoke to his grandparents. He wanted a midfielder. There'll be something to gas up Josh Kroenke. Josh Kroenke was at the Burnley game and he was vexed. And they said, bye, people. I don't care about trying. Football's a results business. If you try not to get relegated, you get relegated. You're playing in the Championship. If you try to win a final and don't win, you don't get silverware. You don't get points for trying. You don't get results for trying. We need to move away from this. I don't care about effort. Things need to be done. And I'm not talking necessarily about these household names. Where the fuck are the scouts? Pardon the French. Anyways, redouble your efforts. Vlahovic is a myth. It's not over to the fat lady sings, but, the old lady has confirmed their man. So we'll deal with Vlahovic. We'll take good care of him, Arsenal fans. Isak, again, you're going to have to negotiate because I don't think we're going to pay that release clause. Our Sociedad going to want to, in their poor season, let one of their most, on the best of days, prime assets go, one of their key members to the squad. And I don't know where their potential replacements may or may be where he's concerned. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Everton are doing poor. They're a bit disillusioned. Again, maybe if you get him to force it, and it could happen, but you're asking a lot and there's a premium. What I don't want is panicking. Ahead of a mid-season, and we're going to get into Jovic and these other things in a sec, but ahead of a mid-season training camp in Dubai, manager Mikel Arteta has flown to America. We're going to look at that to speak directly to Arsenal's ownership. It is inevitable that transfers will reach that. Sorry, that transfers will figure high on the agenda. Scrolling all the way down, acquiring the midfielder or a striker they will want will not be straightforward. Arsenal are arguably hamstrung by their own ambitions. They do not simply want to add to the numbers, only players who will substantially improve them. And yeah, Arteta kind of alluded to that. I don't really care about that. We just want to stay with the article. The difficulty is that many of Arsenal's main targets are critical or of critical importance to their current teams. Okay. Therefore, difficult to acquire mid-season. No one wants to let mid players go. No one wants to let good players go without a fight on the best of days. This is what we need to comprehend, even though that is right. This leaves Arsenal facing a dilemma whether to make do with what they currently have or compromise on the short term. I mean, if there's a goal-scoring winger, you might as well slap Martinelli up front, because there's actually no point playing Eddie Nketiah bar the sake of us needing him. As mad as it is, Aubameyang's actually under contract. Why are we playing Eddie Nketiah? I'm not against it, but in theory, why? He doesn't want to sign. He hasn't signed. You can't even put him in the shop window right now. It's not making zero sense. Lacazette, he's a cool player, but it's not levels. Deals for Vlahovic, Calvert-Lewin, and Isak all present their challenges. Vlahovic appeared the most feasible in January signings to you lot, as he made it clear he will not extend the contract that expires in 2023. Fiorentina have made it known they will want 70 million euros for him. He turns 22 this week. Appeared minded to wait until the summer when he was expected to have more options, but Juventus are preparing to make their move. Some within Arsenal have long suspected Vlahovic's preference was to remain in Italy with the Turin Giants, which you've heard. If you've been trying to get him to since October and you haven't heard replies from him or his agents, you lot have no self-awareness and you can't read the room. It's not making sense. The test now is if Juventus can structure a deal that meets bitter rivals Fiorentina's valuation, given their reluctance to accept installments or players in exchange. I mean, Juventus will find that, financial doping's a thing. They'll make it happen. The prospect of joining Arsenal would appeal to Dominic Calvert-Lewin. The club are a good fit for his ambitions, and joining them would increase his chances of securing a place in Gareth Southgate's England squad for the World Cup at the end of this year. Calvert-Lewin is much admired by coaching staff at Arsenal who have proved influential in previous recruitment decisions. His personality is seen as a good fit for Mikel Arteta's side, and a muted fee in the region of 60 million has not deterred Arsenal's interest. The problem is Everton's reluctance to sell without a manager, having sacked Rafa Benitez just over a week ago after just 6 months in charge and sitting 4 points and 2 places behind the bottom three. They're arguably fighting the threat of relegation. Selling their key striker at the halfway stage of such a season is not on their agenda. What's more, Dominic Calvert-Lewin signed a 5-year deal in March 2020. Everton are a wealthy club and under no great pressure to sell. The likelihood is that Arsenal will have to return with a summer bid for a player who turns 25 in March. In some respects, the 22-year-old Isak presents the most straightforward deal. As you know, he has a release clause. Arsenal have shown interest in him and have shown a willingness to obviously pay release clauses. We all know Isak has an ability to link play and he presses and he's a good fit. Again, his release clause, however, is understood to be substantially higher than the sum Arsenal paid for Partey. Arsenal would seek to negotiate a more reasonable fee, something Sociedad may be unwilling to consider right now, especially as they're in a battle of Champions League qualification. If those 3 moves prove elusive, Arsenal will consider other candidates, but Mikel Arteta is very specific about the type of forward he wants. Someone who can play as a conventional striker, but can also drop deep to create overloads in midfield areas. One name in the frame is Jovic, the 24-year-old and international teammate of Vlahovic with Serbia, has not started in La Liga this season. So what's his physical condition? He can't be 100% match fit. I'm not saying he's going to be off it, but you're not starting. You're not sharp. Strikers are weird. They need to be fit and firing. We're asking a lot on this guy he can't do any worse than Eddie and Laka. I think even without this, he would score more than them. I think Laka's got 2-3 goals in the league, which is appalling. He would offer that he might be able to do it, but we don't know. Apparently, there are some concerns about his defensive work rate, and they are not thought to be pursuing a deal for Espanyol's Raul de Thomas, La Liga's joint second highest goal scorer with 12 so far, but an older option at 27. I mean, we've been linked with him, really. Moving away from that, midfield presents similar problems. Arsenal have long-term targets. Ruben Neves was considered as a possible replacement for Xhaka last summer, only when it looked like Xhaka was moving. And we all know he's picked up where he's left off and is playing quite well for Wolves. The Athletic previously reported RB Leipzig's USA international Tyler Adams was looked at as a potential solution to the right back position, which I'm happy we didn't do. But apparently they retained interest in the 22-year-old as a midfielder. His athleticism and mobility would bring stylistically variety to their midfield, with his ability to cover at right back a substantial bonus. The Brazilian pair of Lyon's Bruno Guimaraes and particularly Douglas Luiz of Aston Villa are also admired. Arteta knows Luiz well, having monitored the now 23-year-old's progress on loan at Genoa during their time as Manchester City colleagues. For various reasons, these targets are difficult to acquire in January. Half of them, there's a £45 million thing on the table for Bruno Guimaraes. Pay it, he's yours. Douglas Luiz, Gerrard is going to say no. Half of the names that we've seen, they're going to say no. So you're going to have to make good offers. No one wants to sell their good players. And especially in Jan, people are worried about the squad. For various reasons, these targets are difficult to acquire in Jan. In some incidences, that's due to the price. In others, the reluctance of their current teams to sell. Arsenal are likely to examine those names more closely in the summer. It's for that reason that signing Arthur Melo of Juventus on loan became an attractive option for Arsenal. Here it comes, the propaganda. Arteta and Edu are long-standing admirers of the player's technical ability, while Arthur is understood to be interested in using the platform of the Premier League to strengthen his place for a place in the Brazil World Cup squad. He's not been selected for the qualifiers next week. At one stage, Arsenal were confident of securing an agreement to sign Arthur on a 6-month loan, but Juventus wanted them to borrow him for 18 months, and they've now grown reluctant to let the 25-year-old leave at all. So, I mean, if you really like him, what's stopping you from committing to an 18 months with an option? In November, Arthur endured a run of 7 games without even getting on the bench. That's good for him, but we know he's not playing. That's why, I don't really care about that. We know why he's not playing. That's why he's been linked here. Arsenal have not given up hope of striking a deal, but they are being forced to consider alternatives. Oof. There is other business on the agenda for these final few days. Arsenal hope to sign American goalkeeper Matt Turner from MLS side New England Revolution to provide long-term cover and competition for Aaron Ramsdale. No clue how good he is, but those of you in the comments, some of you have said he's shaky, so I don't know. Big up G1. 4 likes till we get 100. Run up the likes. There's 300 odd of you locked in. Keep your opinions coming. There's a precedent at Arsenal which shows it is possible to fuse short-term needs with a long-term strategy, which Arthur Melo could be. And like you saw with Arthur, I mean, I'm not gonna waffle about reading that because it doesn't help us at all, people. So that's the athletics part. We're gonna get back into the other things in a second, but we might as well just to cut up